Want a drink? I've a hankering for company. When I was a boy, there were these urchins who roamed the streets near my father's house. One day, they found a dog. A wretched little thing. It came to them for food. They caught it, tied a rope around its neck, and strung it up. Do you know what I did?
You stopped them? Cut the dog down?
I did nothing. Not a damn thing. It was crying. I saw the kicking legs, the neck straining and twisting. And I turned around, went inside, and closed the door. I could have told my father, or alerted someone. I didn't. I just pretended it wasn't happening.
You said you were just a boy.
I was old enough to know the dog was suffering and that it was wrong. I may as well have tied the noose myself. We could make the world better. It's just easier to shut our eyes.
Nothing worth doing is easy.
Look at you. You would have done the right thing. We're lucky there are people like you in the world. There's always some dog out there. Some fucking mongrel that doesn't know how to stay away.
One for the Empress. For Gaspar. Brianna. The Duchess. And Inquisitor. Right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a butt for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one Empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. Want to stop a party, I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an Empress. That, and Briala being an idiot, the whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
The fun never ends in Skyhold, does it?
The Inquisitor was hilarious. That's what they'll say one day, you watch. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Liliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Liliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a man, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry The Circle of Magi, the Templars. This cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you, of all people, say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
Many extraordinary things have happened to get us to this point.
I'm not so certain. I think it has been a long time coming. Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate. What about Liliana?
Liliana says she wishes to follow Justinia's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinia knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Liliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Thedas, human or no. That is what I would change.
Your determination is admirable.
Some men would call it an unattractive trait.
I'm not those men.
Truer words have not been spoken.
Who's using flattery now? So this is your new crusade?
I've agreed to nothing yet.
And if the Chantry calls on you?
Then I will do whatever I can, for as long as I can. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority. You are quite distracting, you know.
So, you're a candidate for Divine now.
So I am informed.
Is that something you actually want?
Why should what I want matter?
Why shouldn't it matter? Don't you have the right to be happy?
It is very simple. The Chantry needs to survive. To do that, it must change. I have never believed in asking another to do what you are unwilling to do yourself. So I look upon this as an opportunity. I owe it to myself and all of Thedas to seek the Sunburst throne.
There are other ways you can change things.
Perhaps. I may not have a choice in the matter if the Chantry clerics pick another.
That's enough for now.
We shall speak again soon.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shirao, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
I'm pleased you had a good time.
Political gambits, broken promises, half-truths. It is a palace full of motivation, and motivation is where great things happen. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally. Especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Briala is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
She's done good work. Hopefully with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Briala's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
That's something you actually miss?
Who wouldn't? All the drama, the scandal, the petty maneuverings. Back home, we engage in social affairs with the grim intensity of war. When blood is spilled, the battle is won. Less fun when you're the target, but to watch. My, yes. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
Naturally.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. You're all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
Do you know what you're looking for?
The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me.
You take your instructions from me. What sort of help can a dead divine give you?
I don't know. Perhaps something to do with the Chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. Celine and Gaspard rule a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
That's all for now.
Another time, then.
My dear, I'm afraid I must ask you for help. There is an alchemical formula that I must complete, but I have been unable to obtain a critical ingredient. The heart of a snowy wyvern. I had arranged to obtain one, but the chevaliers working with me were killed in the Civil War.
If I'm going to hunt down a snowy wyvern, I need you to tell me everything you know about it.
They're quite rare and exceedingly dangerous. Their venom is the most potent of any wyvern. Ordinary hunters would not make the attempt. The risk is too great. You, my dear, would certainly be an equal to this monster.
I didn't know you were an alchemist, Vivienne. What exactly is this project you're working on?
It is a special request from a member of the Council of Heralds. I am still the Imperial Court Enchanter, after all. The matter is private. That is all there is to say.
You want me to risk my life to get this thing for you, but won't tell me what it's for.
My dear, it is hardly proper for me to blab the secrets of those who put trust in my discretion. I would do no less for you, after all.
I'm not a hunter. Why do you think I can help?
This beast is not hunted for sport, as other wyverns sometimes are. It is far more deadly. In the past, chevaliers have been dispatched to either kill the creatures or drive them away from villages. Since my chevaliers have fallen to political conflict, I find myself in need of someone with a martial aptitude.
I'll do what I can.
Thank you, my dear. I would be most grateful. I shall give the location of its lair to Cullen. Remember, my dear, I must have its heart, or the potion will not work. I eagerly await your success.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds, for the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
They've terrorized Thetis long enough. We end them now. If Corypheus is hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we'll go.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Eluvian, an elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
It's beautiful in its way.
I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds. Untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Eluvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Eluvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I had a safe place to raise my son. But only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Eluvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key?
The key can be many things. Each Eluvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corypheus wants to come here?
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Eluvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.